Recap Star Army, welcome back to the channel. Today I have a challenge for you. This isn't just a regular recap, this is a roller coaster ride of emotions. I advise the faint of hearting to turn back now because once we cross this line, there is no return. If you think you can handle the excitement, then buckle up and let the show begin. The movie kicks off with Bob G getting a call from one of his men saying, "We're done for, boss. Rathore is still alive. He didn't die." He replies, "How is that possible? How did he get out of his grave? I buried him with my own 2 hands." Just to be sure, he takes his men and rushes to Rathore's grave. They dig and pull out the coffin, but what they find is rocks instead of the body. He grabs his photo, "I'm sorry, my friend," then spits on it and throws it away. And here comes the violent beast, the tasty boy, Shiva, the scary thief, chasing after this other thief until he reaches a lady's house. "Put down your weapon or I'll kill her." He puts down the weapon and the thief goes inside and robs the entire house. Then they go to another house and do the same thing until they rob all the villagers. The locals go to the police station demanding to see the inspector to stop this farce. So this guy comes out. They tell him, "You idiot, tell the inspector to come out to us." He tells them, "I am the inspector. And of course, you're gathered here so I can catch the thief who robbed you. Please, if anyone catches him, bring me back my clothes that he stole from me." Meanwhile, Shiva and his buddy are splitting the loot. Shiva says, "Look, we gathered 35,000. Let's put this 5,000 aside so our math is precise. You get 15 and I get 15. Wait, let's give this 15 to the statue because he's the one who blessed us." He throws the money up and it falls back down on him. He tells him the statue doesn't want it, so the statue replies, figuratively, "You take it. And of course, I'll take my own 15. His buddy tells him, "Fine, I'll take the gold." Shiva replies, "You moron. This is stolen gold. If you sell it, you'll get arrested. I'll buy it from you for 10,000. He says, "Agreed." Shiva says, "Here you go, sir. Here is the 10,000. Wait, we forgot the 5,000 we put aside. No, I'm a fair guy and I can't cheat you. Let's put the 5 on the 10 to make it 15. You get 7.5 and I get 7.5. Now, where's the 10,000 I let you for the gold price? Look, I'll take this 7.5. And when will you bring me the rest, brother?" His buddy says, "I guess I owe you." He says, "Cool. And out of the goodness of my heart, I'll be patient with you." Suddenly, he sees Paro and he can't believe his eyes, zoning out on her beauty. The next day, while walking, she passes by him and smiles, then goes to the other side. Just then, a thief snatches her bag and runs. But Shiva meets him on the other side with a slap like a thunderbolt that makes him return the bag again. She goes to him and says, "Thanks for what you did for me." He's like, "No worries. Is the duck from around here?" She tells him, "Nah, I'm just here to attend my relative's wedding." Her friend chimes in, "Why don't you just give him your number, you dummy?" He goes, "Man, I wish." So she snaps back, "And who exactly do you think you are to be getting her number?" He says, "I'm gonna marry her because I love her and she loves me too." She says, "No, I don't love you." He replies, "No, you do love me. And after we talk together, you'll be thinking about me all day and then you'll realize you love me." And he leaves her and walks away. She goes to the cafeteria and tells the waiter, "Bring me 2 sandwiches of Indian lying, BS, and 2 cups of mango juice." She looks up and is shocked to see Shiva standing in front of her. He leaves her and walks away, so she calls him, "Hey, you kid, come here." He comes back and says, 2 sandwiches and 2 juices. "Anything else?" She says, "Thanks." And Shiva, who had set this up with the waiter, leaves. While leaving, she sees him in the car, closes her eyes, and opens them to find someone else in the car. Later, she goes to a relative's wedding and sees him at the wedding too. She asks him, "Are you real or not?" He says, "No, I'm real. Surely you kept thinking about me all day. This is the magic of love." Then they dance together and the wedding ends. The next day, he meets her at the temple. She says, "But that drumming you're doing is really cool." He says, "You're actually doing it wrong. Come, let me show you the right way." "No, that's totally wrong." She says, "But I'm holding you back from your job. By the way, what is your job?" He tells her, "Thief. My job is robbing people. I could have lied to you, but I don't want our beginning to be a lie." "Wait, you guys lie about everything, dude. Did it stop at the start of your love story?" Anyway, she tells him, "You told me the truth and I'm not angry. This is your job, but promise me you won't steal again." He says, "Promise. From tomorrow I'll stop stealing." At this time, Babu goes to Singh and tells him Rathore is still alive and will return to defend the city again. He tells him, "Pull the men and go to Mumbai and don't come back without his corpse." Meanwhile, Shiva tells his friend everything that happened. His friend says, "So he won't steal again? How are we gonna live? Where will we eat and drink from?" Suddenly, they hear that lady walking by and the sound of her jewelry jingling makes the devil play with their heads. And the lady says to the young men who brought down her bags, "Take it easy, boys. This bag is full of jewelry." Shiva tells his friend, "Look, I promised her I'd stop stealing starting tomorrow, and tomorrow hasn't come yet." The same lady calls them and says, "Look, I'm scared for this bag of mine, and you know the station has many thieves, but you look like respectable young men. I want to go to the bathroom. Can you watch the trunk until I return?" He tells her, "Don't worry, ma'am, consider it ours." And indeed, she leaves them and walks away, and the two of them take the trunk and disappear with it. His friend tells him, "This trunk gets split before opening, boss. I won't let you trick me again." And indeed, they start splitting the trunk before opening it, but suddenly this officer sees them. He says, "Freeze, you two. What's in the box?" They tell him, "It's got chicks inside, sir." He says, "Okay, open it, let me see. Maybe I'll buy from you. Hurry up, boys." They open the box and everyone is shocked. The officer says, "What is this? Are you kidnapping a child?" Shiva doesn't know what to reply, but the girl wakes up from sleep and says, "I missed you, Papa." The officer says, "Aha, were you trying to sell your daughter?" He says, "No, I put her in the box because the sun was too hot for her." He says, "Take care of her and raise her well. And by the way, give me your address. I'll come every day to check on her myself." They go home and his friend says, "What is this disaster, dude?" And Shiva tells the girl, "Hey you, come here. Who is your dad?" She says, "You are Papa." He says, "Papa who? Get out of my face now." He takes her outside the house and tells her, "Look, we'll play together. You hide in this car, and when I call you, come out." He tricks her and leaves her in the car and walks away. At this time, the officer goes to his friend at home and asks, "Where is the girl and her dad, boy?" He says, "They went out together. Actually, today is the girl's birthday and her dad took her to buy a cake and balloons." He says, "Fine, I'm not leaving until I eat some of this cake." He calls Shiva and tells him, "Shiva, where are you, bro? The officer is here and insists on eating your daughter's birthday cake." He says, "Oh crap, okay, hang up now." And he runs back after the car. He brings her back home and the officer eats the whole cake and tells them, "All good," and leaves. After that, Paro goes to Shiva's house. He says, "Where to, soul of my soul? Come, let's talk outside in the fresh air." He hides the girl, takes Paro, and goes outside. Later, he returns home, flipping through the box the girl was in. His friend asks, "What are you doing?" He says, "Searching for anything to lead us to this girl's family. If she says Papa in front of Paro, I'll lose my love forever." And indeed, he finds her photo with her father. He gets shocked, and his friend says, "When did you guys take this picture, dude?" He says, "You idiot, this is her real dad, and he looks exactly like me. We have to search for him until we find him." And here is the violent, scary beast whose abilities baffled the gangs of Earth and Mars. Babji's men surround him, so he hits one of them. The man tells him, "We're 50 men and we won't leave here until we finish you and your daughter." He says, "Then you're dreaming." He hits 2 of them and the rest run away from him. He keeps chasing them. At this time, a tuk-tuk crashes into him, throwing him far away. His head spins from the hit. He supports himself with difficulty and goes under a water tap. Later, he goes to the doctor who tells him, "Didn't I tell you not to start trouble again, son? Understand, your brain is in danger and any simple knock on your brain could kill you," and leaves him. He holds his daughter's photo and keeps thinking about her. Later, Shiva gives food to the girl. She tells him, "Feed me with your hand." He says, "My hand is dirty. Eat by yourself," and leaves her and goes to bed. She goes to him and says, "Since your hand is dirty, come let me feed you with my hand." His heart softens, but he stops himself and tells her, "Listen, girl, either you eat or throw this food away." He goes out to get drunk and comes back to find her sleeping on the dining table. He tells her, "Listen, girl, I am not your dad and don't say Papa again. Do you understand or not?" The cassette player turns on and it has a tape with her mom's song. He tells her, "You shut up, I'm talking." And of course, the recorder doesn't shut up, so he smashes it against the wall and breaks it. The next day, he wakes up to find the girl crying over her cassette. He feels guilty, so he starts fixing the cassette for her. She hugs him and he opens his heart to her and keeps playing with her, and the girl is extremely happy. At this time, Paro walks in on him and is shocked. He tells her, "Don't misunderstand me." She says, "You said you don't like kids and I believed you. You said you work as a thief and I let it slide. But lying to me and it turns out you have a daughter? This I won't forgive. Forget everything between us." And she leaves him. Her father goes after him and says, "It's over, son. There's nothing left to say," and they leave him. The girl holds his hand, so he carries her and takes her to school. On the way, Babji's men attack them and they are about to kill him, but suddenly he ducks down and finds the officer behind him, who keeps hitting them and tells him, "Run with Chinky quickly," and he keeps holding them off until Shiva escapes. But the men keep chasing him until they catch him. He leaves the girl on the side and keeps hitting them, but they are too many. You think they'll kill him, my friend? No, I swear it won't happen. Suddenly, he finds the lady they took the box from beating them up and telling him, "Run with Chinky, Shiva." He keeps running with her, but they still chase him until they gather around him from every direction. Their leader says, "Look, man, see how scared he is? Is this the lion who said death fears him? Finish him off, man." You think the men will will finish him off? Say it with me, my friend. I swear it won't happen. Rathore is standing above them, grabs a motor pipe, and jumps down on them. Shiva can't believe it, and Babji's men are dying of terror. Rathore takes Shiva and the girl, puts them in a place far from what's about to happen, and goes back to them.
He tells them, "Which one of you thought I was scared? Whoever said that won't see another day, and whoever doesn't know, I'd like to inform him and let him hear, I am Vikram Rathore. I was born to finish off people like you." He charges at them and starts breaking their bones one by one, but they hit him with a simple knock on his head. The world spins and he falls down. Where is Rathore and the lie you were telling a moment ago, dude? Anyway, my friend, they break his bones and stab him with a few knives in his stomach and break his colleagues' bones. You think Rathore will leave them, my friend? I swear it won't happen. Suddenly, the sky rains on him and the water falls on his head and wakes him up. Don't be surprised, my friend. Indian rain works as paramedics. Anyway, he stands up again on his feet and starts tearing into their flesh like a lion and shows no mercy to any of them. Someone tells me, with that knife in his stomach, bro? It's normal, my friend. This Rathore is from planet India. Anyway, he finishes them off and asks his colleagues, "So, is there anyone else left?" The officer says, "No, sir," so he falls down. Guess his battery ran out. Anyway, they take him to the hospital.
The doctor tells them his condition is very critical. We'll do what we can. Shiva looks at the officer and doesn't understand anything. The officer tells him, I know you want to understand what happened, and that's your right because you entered a path that isn't yours. Let me tell you the story from the beginning. In one of the cities ruled by a politician named Babji, the whole city are his slaves, and the police are just uniforms to him, nothing more. Even I was one of the slave officers for him, and one day I took the kids and went to his house. I told him, I've been looking for my wife for 2 days and can't find her. He says, really? Maybe you're not performing well with her. And he keeps laughing with his men. Suddenly, his wife comes out from inside, and Babji's son comes out behind her. His daughter says, there is Mama, Papa. He puts his daughter's hand down and can't bear to look at his wife in this situation. Babji says to him, do you know where your wife is? He says, no, I don't. He says, okay, we'll look for her and return her to you after. His son signals him and says, after 2 days. He says, we'll return her to you after 2 days. He says, but sir, he says, get out. Didn't I tell you we'll return her after 2 days? And indeed, he takes his kids and leaves. At the train station, there are thugs taking taxes from everyone entering and leaving, and they attack this vendor. The boy tells them, give the money. They tell him, money for what, kid? And each one slaps him. The disabled person says, don't worry, one day God will send us someone to clean up this entire city. And without warning, the beast who will clean the city has arrived, folks. As he's walking out of the station, the thugs tell him, 500 rupees to pass, smart guy. He tells them, not paying. They say, no, you will pay, you loser. He gives him the money, puts the girl in the taxi, puts headphones on her, goes back to him, pulls a sugarcane stick, and breaks it on him. The boy brings them lots of sugarcane, he strips them, takes their clothes, and beats their backs. After that, he goes to the police station and hangs a picture of his wife who died. His colleagues welcome him and offer condolences for his wife. Suddenly, this officer's daughter comes and says, Papa, come comb my hair. If I go to school looking like this, the teacher is gonna beat me. Rathore asks him, wait, where's your wife? Is she dead or what? He says, no, she isn't dead. He says, then speak up, where's your wife? He tells him what happened with his wife, so Rathore takes the car and barges into Babji's house, and without introductions, he goes in on his men and stomps any male who stands in his way. He flays them and breaks their bones until he reaches Babji's son, finds the officer's wife with him, so he breaks in on him, breaks his bones, grabs him by the legs, and gives him a hit in the goods so they won't play again. Anyway, he takes him, banging him downstairs, and finishes off the rest of his men. Babji tells his men, close the door quickly, but Rathore ties his son to the car and is about to smash the gate with him, so he tells them, open the door quickly. They open the door and he exits with him, taking him to the station. After that, the world turns upside down. The minister calls the station chief and tells him, there's an officer of yours who arrested Babji's son. Release the boy immediately and find out for me who the officer is that arrested him. The chief requests the officer's file and reads Rathore's file completely and learns his historic achievements in his job. He summons him to the lineup and says, I read your file completely and saw your achievements, promotions, and awards you received. Look, son, don't take the world on your chest. Fear of death isn't a shame. He says, who told you I'm not scared? On the contrary, every day, every hour, every minute I feel fear. But 5 years ago, I swore an oath of loyalty to my job, so I must live up to the oath I swore. As for death, sooner or later I will die, but when death comes, it must come while I am proud of myself. And he leaves him and walks away. Babji's son gets released from jail on the pretext that he's an insane person. The minister calls Babji and says, are you pleased with me, sir?
He says, I still need to take revenge on the officer who put my son in jail. Today I'll bring him to the party with me as a guard and do whatever you want to him. And indeed, at night, they go to the party and Babji's son tells the minister, I want to play with one of the officers. I'll run after him, and if I catch him, he takes off his clothes. He chooses one of Rathore's men, so Rathore raises his weapon at him. The minister says, let it go, he's a retarded kid. Empty your weapon and let the night pass. And indeed, Rathore empties his weapon. Babji's son plays with the officer, runs after him, and actually strips him of his clothes. He tells the minister, I'll play with one more, and points at Rathore. Rathore doesn't refuse to play and starts playing with him, keeps dragging him one by one until he takes him upstairs, stands still, and Babji's son comes running at him, so he throws the ammo on the floor, he slips on it, hangs on the tree, and dies. Babji goes crazy over his son, and Rathore tells the officer, prepare a report for the corpse and write that he was an insane person who threw himself from above and died by mistake, and take the minister's signature as a witness. And if necessary, take his father's signature. He says, yes sir, and leaves them. All his colleagues start clapping for him.
The next day, the whole city is celebrating, but suddenly the villain statue hits Rathore in the back, and the one hiding inside the statue is Sing. Rathore gets angry and charges at Sing, but Sing is stronger than him. He keeps banging him around until he breaks his bones. You think Rathore will take that silently, my friend? I swear it won't happen. He takes him right and left and is about to kill him, but Sing shoots a bullet, breaking the brick under the car, and the car moves. The car is about to hit the child who can't move because of the bricks, so Rathore leaves Sing and goes to save the child. Sing comes running at him and shoots him a bullet that barely touches his head, so he thinks he died. He ties him up and hangs him in front of all the townspeople, and Babji tells them, here is the one who is protecting you, hung up just like a sheep. You are slaves to me, and you will continue the rest of your lives as slaves to me, and leaves them and walks away. His colleagues and the residents are extremely sad. At this time, Rathore's eyes move, so the female officer tells them Rathore is still alive, and indeed, he turns out to be alive, and the townspeople tell them, don't worry, no one will know he's alive until he comes back to us safely. And indeed, we brought him to the hospital, but the doctor told us he's forbidden from doing any effort because the bullet affected his brain badly.
And the female officer tells him, we had no solution other than to play along with you and keep the girl beside you so she wouldn't feel the loss of her dad. We are sorry for what happened. He tells them, nothing happened. I wish there was something in my hand I could do. At this time, the doctor comes out and tells them, I'm sorry, the patient has 5 minutes left before he dies. Please go in and say goodbye. It's normal, my friend. Death has appointments there. Anyway, as soon as they enter, he reaches out his hand to Shiva and says, where's my daughter? He says, don't worry, your daughter is a trust on my neck, and he leaves them and dies. The girl enters, Shiva covers him quickly and tells her, come my love so your uncle can sleep. So she plays her cassette for him and says after he hears this song, he'll be able to sleep. He takes her in his arms and is extremely sad. After that, they hold the funeral ceremony, and Shiva keeps thinking about his achievements and what he did in his life before he died. So he decides to continue his path and return the city to Babji again. And indeed, he returns again. And as soon as he gets off at the station thugs prepare themselves for a fight, and all the people keep pointing at him saying, finally, the beast Rathore has returned to us again. The thugs tell him, we are ready for the hit, boss. He tells them, no, I'm not free right now. You finish them off, brother.
He takes off and goes to Babji, tells him, before I kill you, I will make you lose everything you own, front and back, the grain stores and ammo. I will destroy it completely, and stop me if you can, and leaves him and walks away. On the way, he meets Paro. He's running down to her. The officer says, calm down, be careful. You are not Shiva now. You are Officer Vikram Rathore. He says, don't worry. He goes down to her and says, move aside, girl. She hugs him and says, since I left you, I can't forget you. I forgot my whole life and still remember you. He barely controls himself and says, forget who, you beauty. I'm Officer Rathore. She says, I knew what's up. He says, oh, you mean that kid Shiva who looks like me? He's not here, girl. And he leaves her and goes to ride the car and says, drive, officer, and if she keeps standing there, run her over. And indeed, he leaves her and goes. She goes to his house. He says, you again? I told you I'm not Shiva. She gets upset and leaves him. Suddenly, he hears the sound of something falling in the well. So he runs and dives after her, keeps calling her, but she comes out. She didn't dive. She tells him, I tricked you and threw a rock in the well. Caught you, smart guy, cool guy. He says, well, get me out first. I don't know how to swim. She says, say you still love me and I'll get you out. He
He says, "Fine, lady, I still love you." And indeed, they get back together, smooth as butter, and she decides to take care of the girl.
And Shiva starts planning for Bobji. Bobji keeps waiting for him at the grain store, so Shiva calls him and says, "Why didn't you come, superhero?" He says, "While I was coming to you on the road, I found your liquor factory working at full capacity, so I thought I'd blow it up before coming to you." Bobji is shocked and takes the man and goes to the factory. He calls him again and says, "You went to the exploding weapon factory and left the grain factory? Well, I took what's in it and I'm waiting for you there." He says, "If you're a man, don't leave there." He takes the men and runs to him, says, "Welcome, Uncle Bobji the cool guy. My only dream is to play with you before I kill you in Pochinki. Wait for me. Tomorrow I'll come at you and kill you there." He says, "And I'm gonna wait for tomorrow? Show me how you'll walk out of here on your legs." He says, "Like this," and runs and lies on the ground. Suddenly, the grain store explodes and finishes off all his men. They all die except Bobji, who doesn't die because the director doesn't want him to die. Anyway, the next day, Shiva gathers the people and Bobji. Bobji says, "You brought me all these people? You think they'll do anything to me? These people are my slaves and will remain my dogs and slaves all their lives." Shiva tells them, "After the words you heard, will you stay silent? Until when will you remain afraid of him? If he has 1,000 men, you are 100,000 men. If each one of you hits him once, you'll kill him." He says, "Kill who, you idiot, when there isn't a single male among them who can lift his eyes to me? If I signal any of their women, she'll come and sit on my lap. And wait, I'll show you with your own eyes." He looks left and right and calls the officer's wife. I feel, my friend, this girl was brought just to act this filthy role, but anyway. The officer's wife comes to him. He says, "Here's the wife of one of your colleagues. Sit here, honey, but be gentle with me. My son was a 24-horsepower stallion, but I'm an old man, barely a quarter donkey." Suddenly, her facial features change and she kicks him and says, "If Rathore was with us back then, I would have torn your son apart with my teeth." And the whole population goes wild on them, and Shiva takes Bobji and lets the men break his bones in jail. The minister says, "This isn't right, son." He says, "It is right, sir, and if you talk too much, I'll put you in with him." He says, "Good riddance, Bobji, my brother," and leaves him and walks away. Later, Bobji gets out of prison and kidnaps Paro and the girl. The girl is very scared, and Paro tells her, "Don't be scared. How about I tell you a story? Once upon a time, there was a dog in the forest, looking like that one standing there, who kidnapped a sweet girl just like you, exactly. And there was a brave officer everyone loved, looking exactly like your dad. The officer came and finished off the dog and saved the girl." Singh gets angry and is about to kill them, but Shiva stops him, saying, "Where do you think you're going, you donkey? From today, you won't see another day." But the men are too many for him. You think that'll matter to Shiva, my friend? I swear it won't happen. There's a beehive. He throws a rock at the hive. The bees go crazy on them and chase them all away, and Shiva escapes with them. But the men don't leave them and chase after them. Shiva puts a few bricks in this piece of cloth and starts smashing them and finishes them all off. Then he goes up to Singh, and Singh is brute force no one can handle. He starts smashing Shiva, but who are we kidding? We have Shiva, son of the superhumans. Shiva starts hitting him in specific spots, paralyzes him completely so he can't move, then runs at him and gives him a superpower kick with Indian lying, physics-defying, that breaks his leg, leaves him, and goes to finish off the rest of his men. But Singh ties a rope and drops down to Paro and the girl. Says to her, "You're right. Shiva did beat me and broke my bones, but he couldn't stop me from killing you." At this time, Shiva gives these two guys a single punch that sends both flying downwards, and we all must believe. Bobji enters and breaks his bones easily and ties him with a rope Singh is tied to, and Singh is about to hit the girls, but Shiva throws Bobji on the ground and lifts Singh off the ground and leaves them both in the air. He grabs the axe and cuts the rope and finishes them both, drags them both, and hangs them in front of the townspeople by their legs like sheep. The people are extremely happy, and finally they live in peace, and thus Shiva accomplished his mission successfully and takes Paro and the child and returns to his home again. And here the movie ends, and may God not deprive us of the delicious Indian lying. All right, that's a wrap, my friend. Make sure to smash that like button and drop a comment from the heart. If you're really feeling the love, share this video with your crew. And yo, check out the channel. I've got tons of videos you're gonna vibe with. Catch you in the next one.